What an interesting week so far, and it's only Wednesday.
Yes, and finally, I'd just like to say...
I'm going to begin today by lighting our candle in honor of the full moon. Don't forget, Academy members, tonight we have our full moon ritual at 8.
We do!
And it's not too late to join the Academy. If you wanted to join the Academy and join us tonight,
You probably should join the Academy.
you certainly get a lot for that Academy membership. Okay.
Don't you just?
What on earth?
Can I quickly speak to why this moon is significant as well?
Oh,
For those
sure.
of you that have been following along in our tarot class, of which the final installment comes up fairly soon, and we're getting close to having finished the book, almost. Today is what's known as the minimum lunar standstill, or lunastice. And you'd be interesting to note that actually Stonehenge, specifically the what they now term the Aubrey holes, which predate Stonehenge by many thousands of years, those 56 holes around the outside of Stonehenge could track that lunar progression, the 18.6 year cycle that it takes to go from lunar standstill, maximal lunar standstill, to minimal lunar standstill and back again.
It's like we have a solstice, we have a lunastice.
This is where the full moon rises to its lowest point in the sky tonight, or last night.
And the summer solstice, the sun is at its peak of power.
Isn't it? Because they're always opposite, or kind of, when they occur. That's really kind of interesting. You think about it, because it will be its maximal at the winter solstice. Not this year, but in the next whatever it is, 9 point whatever years, because it's an 18.6 year cycle that it goes through. So amazing stuff that we could track this so many thousands of years ago.
We've lost a lot, but we're trying to recover it.
Yes.
All right, so if we spoke the language of tarot and not necessarily the language of astrology, but if we spoke the language of tarot, the full moon is at 20 degrees Sagittarius. So we could get the number 20, which is Archangel Gabriel.
Judgment.
Right? So we could get that card out. And then if we wanted a card that represented the zodiac sign, we would get Temperance for Sagittarius. And that's the sign the moon is in, and that's Archangel Michael. And then if we wanted the card for where the sun is, it would be the Lovers, and that's Archangel Raphael. So the only one of the 4 archangels that we're missing is the devil, which is Saturn, which is not necessarily playing a role in this sun-moon lunation, but certainly Saturn is predominant in its movements in the skies right now. Let me just write Peggy down because I see she came. So we'll say good morning to everyone.
Should we go back and do that? Let's go back and... Oh, no,
don't
settle,
do that.
Settle.
Sean,
Savannah,
Sean, Susan, Gilda, Yoff, Shauna, Logan, Laura of the North.
Of the North, welcome.
Jess, Wendy, Taylor, Helena, Peggy. There you go.
And more Logan. So there you go.
All right. So there's a lot going on as above, so below.
As within, so without.
As the universe, so the soul. And I think that this next week, from now till next Wednesday, a lot of very interesting things will be going on. So, we've talked about Uranus and Algol quite a bit. And we've said that Uranus is in the very end of Taurus, and it's going to be moving on into Gemini. And that shift from earth into air, we may see some intense seismic activity, earthquakes, volcanoes, and wind events. Now, Al Ghul, don't lose your head, is at 25 degrees, and Uranus right now is at, I think, 28 degrees.
It's close enough for uncomfort.
It is still conjunct because obviously Uranus is an outer planet, moves a lot slower, and you know, three degrees of orb is certainly acceptable by, I would think, any astrological view.
Standpoint, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. All right. So,
yeah.
So you might have, if you're following any kind of seismic news like that,
There's quite a bit of it.
you might notice that there were an awful lot of earthquakes with a magnitude of 4 or more, right?
An unusually
Right.
high amount, in
So
fact.
we're still watching that group off the Pacific, off the coast of Oregon.
The Pacific Rim is always very active, isn't it?
Right. But that's one to watch. Then magnitude of 4 or more, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, Mexico, Afghanistan, Peru.
Isn't there something brewing in Italy as well?
I'm going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
All right. So then for us, the Stanley Swarm in Idaho, which is just to the side of the Yellowstone thing there, the Yellowstone supervolcano.
Oh dear.
The Stanley Swarm was very active this past week. And yes, what you're talking about is, we know Mount Etna, Kilauea, we know there's been a lot of volcanic activity as well. But there's a real issue with a supervolcano near Etna. It's called Campi Flegrei.
I don't know.
I can't speak Italian very well, but it's near Naples. It's to the.
It's pretty much the Bay of Naples, isn't it?
And
That's the caldera.
It can't be. Yeah, the caldera is huge, and has created that inlet of water, the crater. That is being watched because the ground has risen in the last 2 years. The ground has puffed up over a meter, which is a little over 3 feet.
3 foot 3 inches to be precise.
And it is currently cracking. Even a macadam road cracked, and sulfur is leaching this week.
This is not good.
If that one goes, that's going to affect,
most of Europe, I
yeah,
would suggest.
and then,
Italy would be devastated, but my goodness.
So we have these kind of huge earth-shaking events going on. And they're being agitated a little bit more because Mars, the planet of war, action, movement, fire, destruction,
Mars is inherently volcanic,
wanting to
isn't
be
it?
seen, right? Leo wants to be seen and Mars wants to push this ahead, is squaring Uranus.
Squares
And
are uncomfortable.
We know that squares are like walking into the corner of a table. You're going to get a bruise. It's going to hurt. So, and we have to understand that Mars is also squaring Al Ghul, isn't it? And the degree that Mars is going to be on Saturday is at the exact degree of the person who's called for this military parade. Ascendant. So Mars, war, aggression, action, demanding respect.
I do hope it rains on his parade.
Is going to be on his exact degree of his ascendant. But there is this square with Uranus that is going to bring chaos and really like earth-shaking things because it's in Taurus. All right. So Mars is in Leo. Uranus is in Taurus on top of Al Ghul. At that same time, we have Jupiter, the planet of expansion,
Make it bigger. Bigger, Rickenbacker.
squaring Saturn, the planet of restriction,
Nothing shall get bigger.
which is conjunct Neptune.
It's all a dream.
So there's this do it, don't do it. Make it happen, hold on. That is like an incongruous kind of energy. And the moon will be conjunct Pluto.
Rip it out, tear it
So
down.
we may be very emotional where this exposure is happening, right? Because Pluto's in Aquarius, it wants power to the people, it wants to expose the things that are holding the people down, and the moon is going to make things very emotional. It's could be a very, very stressful few days. Today,
More stressful than of late, you mean? Surely not.
today for the full moon, 20 degrees Sag.
Thank you for spamming the hearts.
Well, I think they're spamming that it's raining all weekend.
Yes. Well, he can't operate an umbrella, and then maybe the maggots will see the comb over for what it is.
I'm not talking about him. I didn't even mention his name. I'm just saying.
I did mention his name.
All right.
But he can't operate an umbrella.
The moon today is square the north and south node. So we may be very emotional about what our gifts are and very emotional about reaching our goals. We have the sun is also squaring at 20 degrees to 23, 24 degrees, but it's not really a grand square. Today, Mercury, communicate, is sextiling Pluto. So we think, what are we saying? How are we exposing ourselves by saying it? And Mercury has passed by Jupiter, but they're still only 4 degrees apart, so Mercury is conjunct Jupiter. So we want to say all this stuff, but we're concerned that we will make ourselves look bad by saying it. So it's a very difficult astrological time. You know, we still have that Saturn, Neptune conjunction. There's a lot going on, but I think that we really should expect some sort of moving and shake-up, right? Whether it's with our government, whether it's with our community, whether it's with the earth itself making changes and shifts, or personally. And if we're going to make big shifts personally, we should really focus on trying to do it in a positive rather than a destructive manner. Although sometimes old things have to die in order for new things to grow, right? Even in your garden, sometimes you have to chop down something that has served its purpose and let that be compost for something new. And I think
It is the nature of nature.
yeah. But I think that, the Sag Gemini energy is a great energy to expand your knowledge, expand your thinking, expand your vocabulary, learn something, awaken something, and make positive changes, especially because it's pulling that energy from north and south node, where here's what you came into this life with, and this is your toolbox, and how are you going to use those tools to reach your potential. So I think this full moon is a good full moon to use to reach your potential. I'm not trying to put anybody in a place of fear, but I am saying that forewarned is forearmed. There may be some big shakeups globally, statewide, community-wide. So whatever you're going to do, make sure that you do it safely, calmly, and non-violent.
Oh,
right?
goodness gracious
Don't
me, yeah.
answer that Mars-Uranus square. Don't answer that Mars-Uranus square. Answer the Jupiter in Cancer. I want to expand my nurturing of people. Okay?
I'll give you the Star Wars analogy again, for those of you that can't stand Star Wars, I'm so sorry, but there is a great moral ethic running through that thing. And it's when Luke is trying to be seduced by his father, Darth Vader, and the Emperor to come to the dark side. Use your anger, Luke. Use your anger. Anger leads to the dark side. You have to know that.
Mm-hmm.
So the most powerful force in the universe is love, but love sometimes means, having to quietly, pleasantly educate somebody as to what is acceptable and what is not, and the greater good. So, civil disobedience, if it's done peacefully, is a good thing.
Well, I loved that people weren't actually just protesting and screaming. They were actually doing dancing and, music, and just be careful. And
Keep your nose clean.
Don't get sucked in.
Keep your nose clean.
If you're at a protest that gets infiltrated with negative, horrible people, just lie down.
Sit down.
Lie down. Everybody lie down so that you can see the people who are there clearly that are trying to provoke violence.
Just remember, it's your First Amendment right to peacefully protest, to assemble, to peacefully protest. It is your First Amendment right.
And I think we have to use our voices, and that's what that, Gemini energy is about, using our voices.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's going to be a very, shake it up baby kind of week between now and next Wednesday.
So important, Laura. Saying it is important. It is important. To even as angry as we all get at the horrible moral injustices that we see, that people are just being ripped away from their families and taken without due process and all that kind of stuff. Understand the cruelty and the fear is the point here.
Yep, suppress you by making you afraid.
So peaceful, loving protest is perfectly okay.
No, several people have said to me, I really want to protest, but I'm really scared to get involved. I'm afraid I'll be taken away. And there is that, I know we've all had that kind of good trouble thought, but, this is
if you
different.
don't exercise your rights, you will lose them.
Absolutely.
So think about that for a while, good people. Think about that for a while. And, even if it's just phone your congressman.
Something. Take
phone
some
your
sort of
senator.
action.
Write to somebody. Write to the editor of the newspaper. This is unacceptable.
Use your voice in some way.
It's only June the 6th, wasn't it? Last week. A couple of days ago. It's only, the 11th today?
I know.
I
It
think?
seems crazy though.
Yeah, a couple of 3 days ago.
Feels like horoscopes just went up, and that was 10 days ago.
The anniversary of D-Day, when so many young servicemen gave their lives in defence of democracy, to end fascism, and so soon we forget because there's not many people. I never saw it, I've never been in combat my entire life, but my father was, but my father's no longer with us, and I think so many people have forgotten the horror of war, and it is horrific. So
well, let's not forget, Ukraine's been at war now for what, 3.5 years?
Yeah, and it, Look, just be the love, be the light in the world, but also say, this is America, we have certain inalienable rights that apply to all of us.
Right, but what I'm saying is this Mars-Uranus configuration could shake up things with Gaza, things with Ukraine, things with Iran.
Well, I think Ukraine has demonstrated the ability to actually hit beyond its weight at this point, which I think fair play to them. Yeah. That's a good thing, despite our...
No, that's just... These next... Watch these
entertaining
next 7 days.
Entertaining times, that's for damn sure.
And it's important to try to go on with your normal life as well,
But do not, under any circumstances, succumb to violence.
No.
Do not. Keep it peaceful. Keep it orderly.
Let's see. Europe first for Savannah.
Europe?
Europe first for Savannah.
Okay, so what's Europe got to say to Savannah? Oh, come on, kid. This is again, and I think there's a lesson here, and I'm going to say this is probably going to be the oversoul of what's going on. Watch what's being taken from you, and if somebody's making you angry, if somebody's stealing your energy away from, harshing your mellow, peeing on your bonfire, shall we say, which I think is going on quite a palpable scale throughout the world, and particularly in this country right now. There's a lot of stoking of fury and stuff like that. Yes, let's go to
Europe. Yeah.
So the best thing that you can do is pay attention to detail. Keep your eye on the small stuff. Don't lose your focus. Just remember to not let this pull you off your game. Not let it pull you into a place of despair. And I think that's all too easy, because everything is, so wherever you look, whatever you turn on the news, and we're doing our level best to keep our news consumption, which is inherently biased, I have to tell you, our news consumption to a minimum while still staying in the loop, because if you put it on all the time, it's going to crush your zeitgeist. So I think this is more to look to the joy in your life. Don't let circumstances pee on your bonfire, all right? Because that's where your strength lies, and I think that's going to be the oversoul for this entire gig today.
I don't know.
So we'll see.
Sean.
See, notice we're not doing a book club tonight because we're going to do our circle, so we didn't put up any super chats. But if you feel like throwing us one, we'd appreciate it. But you don't have to.
Sean,
but it would be lovely.
Something is going to arrive unexpectedly that is going to make you very happy.
Well, there you go. That'll do it.
A lot of times we call this the inheritance card, but I think this is not that. I think this is something that you weren't expecting, that either sells or arrives or happens, that brings you a really good perspective on something. So I think this is a very positive card amidst the crazy that's happening.
Well, good for you, mate. I celebrate that. We could all use some good news. We sure could use some good news today, isn't it? Ain't nobody robbed a liquor store. I can't remember the song. I know what you mean. Who have I got?
Sure could use a little good news today. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Susan.
Susan! Here we go again, another bloody losing battle. Not necessarily so, all right? Again, this is about check your perception here, check your attitude. You've taken a few blows. We all have. We've all been smitten a little bit here, But, Angwaidha pawb and popeth, Rini Yamor hid. You're still here. You're still standing. And moreover, your defences are intact. And moreover, you're on the outside of your defences. You've not retreated to a place where you just don't want to interact with the world. So recognise the trials and tribulations you have survived. You will continue to survive. And you are going to be okay. So, straighten your tiara or whatever it is you need to straighten and just get on with it. You're good. You got this, all right? Let's throw some positive vibe out there.
All right, Gilda.
Hello, Carol. You're not late. You're fashionably on time.
Gilda.
Well, opinions. Opinions are like buttholes.
I think this might be a little message of step back. When we are in the middle of a fight, we don't always see everything that's coming at us, right? If we're in this fight, we can't see behind us, or we can only see what our peripheral vision will allow. So I think you have to take yourself out of the fray, take yourself out of the way of the flying bullets, and gain a better perspective by being on the outside of it. So I'm not saying quit or anything like that. I'm just saying let yourself breathe a little bit. There is that potential to go off and say things we don't mean, lose our head, or be overly aggressive where it's not really needed. So try to step out of the crazy for a bit and gain a clearer perspective on things that are going around.
Distance yourself from the madding crowd,
Yeah.
so to speak.
You have Yoff.
Hello, Yoff. Oh, mate, stop fretting. Stop fretting. I know there's an awful lot to fret about. There really is. And you are inherently empathic. I know this. And you know what? It's a wonderful thing. But you can't solve the world's problems by worrying about them. You really can't. All you can do is be the incredible being that you are, and give somebody a hug when they need a hug, give somebody a pat on the back when they need a pat on the back, tell somebody you're doing okay here. And I think by reaching out and working daily to inspire others, you will, interestingly enough, inspire yourself. I mean, it's the old Buddhist adage, isn't it? Master, I'm discouraged. Go encourage others. And I think by doing so, you're going to take your focus away from your worry. There's an awful lot of existential dread right now. I get it. I get it completely. We feel it too. It's difficult.
It's heavy, man.
Difficult.
Heavy.
It's heavy. Nobody's feeling like coming out and spending money. It is. And we're entirely reliant upon disposable income, and when prices go up and things get hard, we suffer. So it's tricky for us too. But worrying isn't going to fix the problem, is it? Worrying isn't. That's putting your energy where it's not going to help. So we have to get creative and come up with ways to help and inspire others. And I think by inspiring others, you inspire yourself. There's a definite.
For you, yeah, Logan.
There's a definite thing going on here. Well, in my cards, you seem to
Logan.
be getting the good ones.
Logan.
Don't get a card with me today.
I think that this is about planting something important. And I don't mean that it is actually going out and planting something in the ground. But I think that this full moon is a time to get the seeds together and get a decision made about where it is you want to grow, what it is you want to learn, where are your strengths, where could you use a little more nurturing, and what it is you want to be kind of in charge of. So I think that the Empress in this reading for you today is more about what is it that you want to parent, right? What do you want to keep yourself in line about? What do you really want to grow and expand and learn? And then really, really become the guardian of that decision. Don't get pulled off of it. But I think the seeds that you plant now need to be the important ones and not distracted by things.
So there.
Laura of the North.
Hello, Laura of the North. Let's hope you get a nicer card. Oh, yeah, you do. That worked. Finally, we get something that's good.
No cards are bad.
No, it's just some have got a little weight, but given the circumstances, we completely grok it. We do. So this Oogie is leaving. The bad stuff is on its way out. Even though you're still very much like, oh no, what am I going to do? Because sometimes, I don't know, we get, it's almost like we wear the badge of office. Do you know what I mean? It's my struggle, I've bloody earned it, and I'm going to, hang on to it. And sometimes it's hard to let that go and allow yourself to accept the good things that are being offered to you. Because you're not looking in that direction. Do you know what I mean? You're looking at, I've known struggle. It's been part of my life. It's struggle, difficulty. But here you go. This is without condition. These are for you, look. These are for you. These beautiful flowers, they're for you. Here, take them. And I don't want anything in return. They're just for you. So change your focus a little bit, change your focus a little bit, and things will, embrace things. Start to change your expectation from one of where things have to be difficult to where things actually suddenly start to work out wonderfully well for you. And I think the moment you're prepared to embrace that possibility deep down inside, it becomes a reality. So there.
All right.
Ask what?
Later. Stop being an asshole. All right.
Ooh,
Jess.
excuse me.
Jess.
Excuse me.
What a great card. Healing, communication, understanding. Yeah, we're funny, I know. I think that you are coming to a place where you have figured out how to communicate something that's very, very important that will bring you great growth and great partnerships. So something's catching on in these next couple days for you that's really going to open things up. That's really going to spark something great that's going to just open something. So I feel like there's a great potential here, not just for learning, but for growing. And this good stuff coming. You're up for Taylor.
You notice you've got all the good cards here. Just has. What do I get? Let's see.
More swords. Maybe it's your mode. Maybe it's where you're at.
I'm trying to be good today and positive. I'm trying to... So Taylor, you need more rest, kid. That's what you need, actually, joking apart. You're so good at doing for others. I get that. And I know it's awkward when you have to fit like 23 hours into a 12-hour period. It's tricky. I get it. And
everything to everybody.
You can't be everything to everybody and nothing to yourself. If you don't do a little bit of self-care and, particularly, meditate, rest. Meditation would be really good for you. And you're too busy. But you know that old, again, Buddhist adage, everybody should meditate for at least 20 minutes every day. Unless you're too busy, then it needs to be 2 hours, Hey.
Oh, gosh.
So a little self-care is going to go a long way. It's going to give you that...
A Reiki treatment.
Yeah, it's going to give you that ability to rejuvenate, to recharge the batteries, and to be able to do so much more without being utterly clapped out, if you understand me. So it's not mean, it's not selfish. If you need a bit of me time, take it, all right? And it's okay just to get your head down and just relax for a while. Do that, okay?
All right. I am up for Helena.
Helena!
I was going to call her other name. I had to figure it out. Oh, Helena.
She's got a monopoly on the good cards.
There are no bad cards.
Of course there aren't.
All right. Be mindful of opportunities that seem too good to be true. So it might be time to make a big move and expand something, but be discerning regarding anything that makes you hesitate, right? So it's a very fine line between I need to push myself through that door and take this opportunity, and if this really doesn't feel right, that may not be the door to go through. So it's a great time of opportunity and expansion, but it's also a time for discernment. I know that didn't sound exactly...
How is that your fault, Helena? You're entitled to have whatever name you want. Please.
You can have whatever name you want, but it made me hesitate in my head because,
Where
anyway.
am I? What's your name?
But yeah, where am I? What's my name? But no, and I know that sounded a bit funny, push me, pull me, but I do think that there are going to be some opportunities come your way, and it's important to be careful about which ones you take. You know, it's kind of like that. Is everything a sign? Is nothing a sign? Yes.
Is that in itself a sign?
Yeah. Right. Okay, you're up for Peggy.
Peggy! Peggy, Peggy, Peggy. Speaking of discernment, this is a card that says intuition. Very much, a lot of people see this card as being like the king of wishful thinking. But, yeah.
It's Cartman.
You will respect my authority. No. She might do that. This, to me, this is somebody like that. You've got two things going on here. Now, I know wands are fire, classically, in this deck, but I can't see them and not feel the energy of air, because that's just the way I am. So understand that is what is tempering my read for you here. So this is very much about listening to your intuition, especially when it comes towards aspirational things, and maybe working to develop your intuitive skills, you know. Work a little more on your tarot practice or whatever form of divination that you're working with. And if you're not, you should be. Putting it bluntly. You know, pick something. There's a whole A to Z of mancies, you know. Pick one, from astromancy to zoomancy. Whatever floats your boat, there's something in there that will appeal to you. But I think it's essential, because we're missing half of our skill set if we just got our head in muggledom and we don't put our head into the spiritual realm. We're failing to utilize a capability we all have, and if we work on it, we can develop it. So yeah, we all start out as psychic as a turnip, you know, we do, but it's like everything else. The more you work with that, the more familiar you become with it, the more your own little interpretation book starts to present itself to you,
code book,
and you start to get tuned in to it. But it's something that doesn't just happen magically. Everybody has to work at it, you know, whatever it is. But I would suggest work at it, and it's going to help you with your aspirational thinking. And looking at our view account just drop off. Thank you for the very pertinent adverts, Tube of You. Aren't they fun?
No.
Hopefully they'll all come
All
back
right, I'm
presently.
up for Carol. I can see it sticking out down here. Wow.
You do got all the good
I
ones.
do get a lot of good cards.
She's got all the good ones
All
today.
right, Carol. You know everything is a cycle. We are a circle within a circle. And you might be coming off a bit of a down cycle where things have been heavy and difficult. But I do think you're coming for an up cycle, right? I think the wheel is turning now in your favor, and that you'll be able to get back on top of a lot of things, right? I think sometimes we spend a lot of time in the planning stage, and a lot of time kind of being held back. But I think this is a prediction that things are going to start really moving for you, that big positive changes are happening. All right.
So don't worry about the tricksters. All they got is their butt cheeks to slow the wheel. Apparently, intuition came up last week with you for Peggy. You did, Peggy. So.
Well, we don't
Maybe there's a
remember
massage there.
any of those things. All right. Yes, we are still looking for bodies for Reiki. Please call the shop. 845-255-5756. Tomorrow night we have 3 sessions.
6:45, 7:15, and 7:45. Yes. And if you can make all 3, so much the better. We've got a wonderful group of practitioners. They are lovely, lovely, lovely. I've been fortunate enough to get a couple of treatments myself thus far. So it will help us greatly if you can manage to come out and, you know, bring a friend. Just give the shop
give
a
a
call.
call and we'll get you in. We've got a lot going on there. We got a lot of stuff coming in these next couple weeks too. A lot of new things.
Ooh, and we're getting creative. We're making a couple more interesting roll-ons for the top.
New things.
She had some ideas.
We will show you those in a box opening. Okay.
Yes.
So I'd written ask to remind myself of something, and then he's like, "What's ask?" And I'm like, "Stop it," because I don't want to talk about it till I want to talk about it, which is now.
She said I was a butthole.
Yes, I said, stop being a butthole, distracting me.
Thank you for that, dear. I love you too.
So, when YouTube works in its own little weird cycle of ways.
Kind of.
And I have noticed that we've come over a certain threshold where they are now showing our series of things, right? You'll get like number 2 or number 3 of something. And I'm going to ask you all a really special favor. But I'm going to preface it by telling you something very private first. Okay. So a couple of circles ago, we did some shadow work. And when you first set out to do that, your conscious mind has an idea of what your shadow might be, right? You know kind of what your downfalls or weaknesses might be. But as you get into the meditation, your conscious mind kind of falls back and your subconscious or your higher self comes forward and able to expose the real shadow. So I got a little bit of a surprise, and my shadow was resentful and angry, but not about world politics that my conscious mind thought I was going to be, but it was about like lack of recognition. And these are all emotions that could be seen as negative, like pridefulness and jealousy and things like that. These were what my shadow self was going on about. And you know, again, everybody knows I joke, but it's not really a joke that I say we're Reiki snobs and we're Wiccan snobs. And, you know, we've been doing this for a very long time.
A while.
And we see other folks on, you know, TikTok or wherever spewing regurgitated crap. They don't know their stuff. They
don't know their east from their west, shall we say.
They'll say things that just are
nonsensical,
out there, or could possibly be harmful.
Oh yeah.
And they get, you know, 1 million views and 10,000 followers or whatever. So I was really kind of surprised to see that energy, that I was feeling very angry for lack of respect, and jealous of people who were spewing poo-poo and getting recognition. And then, of course, I went to see Carradine over it, and she said, well, I don't know why you worry about other people. It really doesn't make any difference. It's their karma for whatever they're doing, and just get on with what you're doing. And I get that. So I want to get on with what we're doing. And you guys can be a huge help to us if you help us move that algorithm. So if something comes up for you on YouTube, or you go to our station, even if you turn off the sound and let it play in the background while you're doing something else, right? You could be on Facebook with YouTube up in a different window, you know? Watch the whole entire series. Click through on the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. Even if you don't watch it, let it play through with the sound off, doesn't matter. If you haven't seen it before, right? Like it. If you have time to make a comment. And that will really help them start to show our station to people who have never heard of us, right? So they kind of go through this thing. Okay, here are your subscribers. Here are your members. And if those people are interested and watch what you have, we'll show it to other people. But if your own members and your own subscribers don't click on what we show them for you, then you're not a big deal. So we want you to help us become a big deal. All right. So Samaj needs to get a card. And Samaj, the comfrey, you'll see, I think I put it in the video.
Well, we haven't put the video up yet.
Anton helped me make a bed just for the comfrey. So it's a nice circular bed. And there were actually 13, not 12, of course, a witch's dozen. So they're all cool. So I'll pull a card for Samaj. How about?
How about that then? Still got to do card for the week.
All right, Samaj. Pay attention to incoming messages. They will help you find what you're looking for. It's something really, I feel, really important. And take your time to respond so that you're sure that you've, dotted the I's, crossed the T's, punctuated, blah, blah, blah. But I think there's some sort of important news to pay attention to. Sometimes it's easier just to kind of lay low, but I think this is something coming in that you really want to know.
So there.
All right, card of the day, card of the week.
Week even.
Well, card of the 4 days, 5 days, whatever it is.
Am I pulling this?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I know, with your... Woo!
Okay.
Yeah.
Things are happening very, very quickly. Oh shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Sherlock. However, there's a message here. It's important to coalesce those energies, to focus those energies, to get them coherent and not fractured all over the place. This is so different than the Five of Wands, where everybody's like everything louder than everything else and everybody going me.
This is everybody shooting at the same target.
This is like all of a sudden everything's focused in the right direction. And that is not something to be sneezed at, because when this happens, we get an immediate and very positive result. So, what you focus on comes into focus. Be precise with your focus and use all of the available energy. And there is a lot of available energy.
Right. If we harness it and all move in the same direction, we can make a difference.
We've got to keep it pure, keep it focused, and do not get into the angry, fractious, fight everything, all right? This is careful, planned, executed, but very swift. It's happening. Swift is the word for this. But that house on a hill, which is actually a palace with a river running past, is a great bloody omen here. I'm no feng shui master, believe me. I'm from Birmingham, England. We do prawn crackers, not feng shui. You know what I'm saying? So they've no idea what I just said either. So no, you don't know what I'm saying. Maybe she'll explain. But this is very important to keep your energies focused. Keep your eye on your objective and use this amazing amount of, which is potentially volatile energy, but that means it can be harnessed for good too.
When we look at Sagittarius, it is like the explorer. The energy of the sign is typically searching through other cultures, searching through things that would reveal Akashic records or higher learning or languages and all that kind of stuff. And I think as spiritual people, we tend to be more open to other ways of doing things, right? If we do get the chance to travel and we don't go to just the big cities and museums and things like that, if we don't go to just the big tourist attraction things, if we go to smaller places, a pub crawl through Ireland or, something rural, wherever it is, we start to notice that it is the human race. And that people all over the world have the same core principles and objectives and hospitality. It's only when people get radicalized that they have that us and them sort of feeling. But I think people who are of kinder hearts and open minds understand that we have this one planet and that all living beings deserve respect and that people aren't so different just because of where they were born on the planet, people aren't so different just because of the language they speak or the color of their skin or the food that they eat. People are essentially pretty much the same. And I think we need to start mobilizing that similarity rather than pointing out differences, right? Politics over this last decade have really polarized and insulated people. They've become very insular and disrespectful of others.
It's xenophobic even.
You know? And I think we need to get back to where, you know, come on people now, smile on your brother and everybody get together. It's time to love one another more than, you know, oh, I can't speak to that person because they look like this or sound like this, or, you know, I won't engage in a conversation with that person. It's very difficult. And I do think that there are people that really need to be held accountable. I'm not saying they shouldn't be held accountable. But I really think it is time to try to do things with kindness and facts rather than anger and hate.
True. Yeah, remembered. There's a word in there somewhere. I'm reminded of the song "The Russians Love Their Children Too," you know, and how can we, you know, get on? How can we, when we're looking at each other down a barrel of a gun, you know?
Yeah.
It's like nobody's born with the ability to hate.
Mm-mm.
It has to be trained, and there's been an awful lot of stoking people to be hateful, you know. And that in itself is a very hateful thing. I'm sorry.
Well,
you know?
It's very us and them. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're harming you. They're taking this. They're the cause of that. Mm-hmm. When it's probably the farthest thing from the truth.
Oh, it's
they just want to live a life.
Diametric opposite. People who think that illegal aliens are receiving government subsidies and are taking jobs, which one is it? You know, is somebody on benefit or are they taking a job from you? You know, the fact of the matter is they're paying billions of taxes of which they will never get back. They'll never receive Social Security until they've actually got, you know, that's assuming Social Security arrives. So you're being fed a complete lie, and you need to understand that corporate welfare is the biggest.
I'm not just talking about country, community and country. I'm talking about globally.
Yeah, but that right-wing nationalism is just wrong.
We need to start to understand.
We're on this same planet and we breathe the same air.
Globally, we are being excised, right? Like, America first is going to be America by itself. And that is not what harmony on the planet is about, right? There should be an enjoyment of different cultures and ways of life and belief systems and an understanding of, fellow human beings. Mm-hmm. But I think things have been going the other way now for too long, and we need to kind of pull that back a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And be better hosts. Not our like-minded people who are full of love and light, but we need to spread that light and get other people to recognize that...
America first should be America is the first to offer a hand in comfort. In assistance to how can we make things better for the world, you know, not what's our oil doing under their sand kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway.
Or we won't use our food, you know.
Yeah, we'll just let it rot in the fields or in warehouses, you know, because the wealthiest people in the world decide that the poorest people in the world don't decide to live.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, we'll get off our soapbox.
What
I'm
saying is this Sag full moon and the energy that's here has the potential to be very explosive.
Higher mind, though.
But let's take instead that Jupiter nurturing in Cancer, expanding our nurturing, and that Sag, the one who wants to learn and the ones who wants to use their tools to grow. And let's really, really try to love one another.
Yeah. It's a good thing. It is. So, there you go. That's us. Have we fixed the world now? That would be the tricky thing. Can we fix the world? If we had millions of people listening to us, maybe we could have slightly more influence than we do now. But you guys can help that. Instead of people just stoking fear and hatred.
Yes, the like-minded people need to recognize that if they work together, the light grows greater and greater and greater.
Yep.
And now is the time when we should be opening doors for other people, trying to have a conversation about healing and happiness and lift others up, because there's so much energy, especially this week, that could really make you fall into a place of being depressed and not being able to find that spark, that divine spark. So take the full moon energy today, make the best of it, plant some seeds, nurture yourself, get things on a track that make you happy,
Eat a strawberry.
Eat a strawberry.
Strawberries are
full
yummy.
moon.
Yeah.
First harvest, yeah.
Yeah. We've probably got some strawberries growing. When it's finally stopped raining, we might stand a chance of getting out into the garden without
the
sinking.
blueberries might be ready today. I don't know. It's been
Who knows?
crazy.
It's
All right, folks.
bucketed it down. All right, peeps. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Please do tell your friends all about it.
Please watch any of our series that you can
We
to
might
get
have to
them to show them things.
We have to work harder and put more stuff up.
I don't know if we can work any harder.
Well,
We just need to make it work smarter.
there you go then.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, people.
Oh, hermit.
Ooh. Strawberry. Yeah, strawberries are nice. We like strawberries.
All right,
Honestly.
people.
Yep. So are we going now?
Peace and
All
blessings.
right, we're going then. So thank you so much. We love you guys. Have amazing. If you're able to come and join us for Reiki, we would hugely appreciate
We
you.
need bodies. We need bodies.
We do. And you know what? It's good for you. So there, come and get some Reiki, and come and say hello to us, because we like people to come and say hello to us anyway. We do.
And the next round of tarot starts July 20th, and it's hybrid. So if you don't live near, you can still take the class.
We got the last one to finish first, though.
Yep. All right.
Oh, that's July, not June, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Peace.
All right.
Have
take
a great
care.
weekend.
Be well.
I got bit.
Oh no. Bye for now.